Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Decoded, where I have the honor and the excitement to introduce our next guest, Brett King. He is a dad of two. He is an LAer, but he also happens to be the Vice President of Creative Programming, Diversity and Inclusion at Sony Pictures. And oh yeah, he's got a lot of super cool side hustles that we are going to be talking about in a minute. Welcome, Brett.
Thank you so very much for having me. So nice to be here. Really, really, really a pleasure.
Yeah, same here. I know we're going to have so much fun. In fact, it might be so much fun that I might have to bring you back for another episode. And that's when we can talk about our apartments, our homes. But tell us a little bit first about your role. You had once described it to me as a diversity dot connector. Can you go into decode that?
It is, I have an interesting title. The job, again, as you mentioned, I'm Vice President, Creative Programming for Diversity and Inclusion at Sony Pictures Entertainment. So that is a job that did not exist before. It was created for me by my boss, Paul Martin, who's the Chief Diversity Officer of the studio. And it basically allows me to take advantage of my several decades of work as a producer and creative executive. And what I do is look for opportunities for inclusion as it touches the businesses of film or television. So that can be overseeing diversity outreach programs, that can be working with producers, that can be bringing people into the fold. It is outreach to film festivals and media panels. Basically, it is making sure that we speak to audiences in an authentic way, and that the audiences that we reach are as diverse as possible. So the people behind the camera are as diverse as possible, and the people that we are trying to reach are also as diverse as possible. And the communication that's happening between those two groups is authentic.
Right.
So that's basically my role. But it's easier to say diversity dot connector because,
I thought it was awesome. I stole it and repeated it back. Do you feel like in the past 8 months, either because of COVID or because of this social pandemic that we are really trying to overcome, that your role has taken on a different meaning?
Well, certainly without question, the past several months, this past 10 years of a year, have certainly increased the emphasis and focus on racial equity, and the ongoing reckoning that's taking place in this country has certainly impacted my job. So I'll look at it in two ways. So COVID really impacted everything because a lot of my work is high touch. I'm meeting with directors. I'm putting them together with other executives. We're in rooms with working directors and
right.
Showrunners, et cetera. So all of that had to go away, right? So because we're all working from here. So I had to shift my programs in such a way and redesign them so that we could take advantage of what the virtual landscape offers. So rather than bringing in a new directors cohort, for instance, I extended our commitment to our existing directors, and we're doing some stuff virtually now. We're starting a whole new program virtually. But then with the response to the tragedy of George Floyd's death and the subsequent inspirational uprising in consciousness and in attention and in concern around issues of equity and equality, has certainly given a much, much greater emphasis on my role at Sony. So Sony, I think, has been really remarkably responsive in this and really very smart in their response. They created something called the Sony Pictures Action Committee. And that committee has representatives in every part of our businesses and meet on a regular basis and are forming actions and activities that can guarantee sustained progress over time. What we're trying to do is not just make this a moment, we're trying to keep this going. We're trying to make sure that this is a movement and that progress continues to take place. So,
Wonderful.
so I'm now in conversations that I normally would not have been in. We are taking aggressive steps in terms of addressing diversity for below the line crews, for bringing executives into the fold. So and investing in businesses that we might not have taken a look at previously. And so I'm in some of those conversations in a way that I haven't been before, and it's really, really exciting. It's been a blast.
That is so exciting. You really had to pivot, right? You had to not only turn everything upside down because of COVID, but now there's a huge spotlight on you,
Yes.
which, I mean, you're leaning into clearly so well to really help change the conversation dramatically.
For instance, we one of the things that I'm really, really happy about that just wouldn't have happened, I don't think, if it was not for kind of the mood of the nation and this real this deep reexamination of where we are as a nation. We were given the opportunity to become one of the initial investors in something called the Black Information Network, which is a 24/7 radio station distributed by iHeartMedia. That's just like just like any 22 minutes a week, like WINS in New York. You give us 22 minutes, we give you the world. So it is that kind of thing, but it is all through a Black lens. So I listen to my Black Information Network daily podcast, and I hear things on the regular that I simply would not hear in the national news media.
Right.
And I was very involved in the conversations about bringing that, about Sony being one of the lead investors in that company, and really I kind of really pushed for it because I thought it was an important initiative. And I'm proud to say that, our leadership was really responsive. We are the category exclusive studio involved in the Black Information Network, and we are bringing incredibly important news to people in a way that they simply wouldn't have gotten before had we not gotten involved.
I have chills. That is so awesome. Wow. And
sometime I will tell you the full story of that, because it has to do with pulling all-nighters, having to do a podcast, or having to moderate a presentation that very same day, then going into this giant meeting, and then ultimately getting recognition from one of my media idols, Bob Pittman, who is obviously one of the founders of Black Media. So
wow, that's amazing. And people talk about 2020 and how it's been really, really hard. And I'm not going to deny that. I'm very fortunate to have not gotten sick. My family has not gotten sick from it. And I've been able to work through it, which unfortunately a lot of people have not. But when I hear stories like yours, and I hear, and I think about some of the experiences that I have had from a work standpoint, right? Where we really had to pivot overnight. We really had to come up with some ingenious solutions to challenges. And like your story, not sleeping, figuring it out as we went along, on the unicycle with, juggling 5 balls at the same time. We did it though. Right. And so to me, 2020, personally, not for the nation, but for me and for folks like you, when I hear your stories, I feel like, human beings we have a sense, we're crafty, we're clever, and we can do it. And sometimes we need that with social unrest or that total change of work-life behavior, whatever, going digital, for example, to force it out of us. And not everybody succeeds at it, but it's amazing how many people can. And so I hear your story and I'm like, Brett, you've had a great year.
Well, it's interesting. I joke about how long this year has been, but it really has been sort of like 3 different years for me. So one of the things that I've been doing this year, obsessively really, is shooting everything. So I have my iPhone.
Yeah.
And I just shoot my house. I shoot my dog. I shoot my daughter. I shoot just moments out in the backyard, dog walk chronicles, all that kind of stuff. And I've also kind of, looked at the news and I shoot Zoom calls on occasion and that kind of stuff. So I have a remarkable visual document of this year.
Wow.
And so one of my projects for the first quarter of next year is editing those photographs into a book that I can have, that I can share and hopefully, send out to other folks, but certainly have a bound memory of this moment, because I think that this is going to be an incredible moment for years to come. There's going to be pre-COVID and there's going to be post-COVID, just as there was pre-9/11 and there was post-9/11.
Absolutely.
It is a gigantic, enormously significant event that will reshape the world and the way we live in it.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I can't wait to see that piece that you create. So that'll be the next episode. But, I hear you, and no question, I think there's going to be negative side effects from this year, but I believe for the most part, maybe because I believe in humanity, we're going to get the positive and really try to propel that forward. That's what I'm hoping.
I think that is most likely right. I think that I would hope that this is a moment where we have learned to recognize, because we've been kept away from each other so much, how much we need one another, how important others are, and how we need to attend to the needs of others and not just our own, So I think that, perhaps the lesson going forward over time is going to be about that, is going to be about how incredibly important human connection is and how much we miss it when we don't have it. For me, one of the things I find myself missing the most is those, not just, my close friends. I do this, we will get together and we'll interact and we'll hang out and we'll spend some time together, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of people in the bubble that I actually see, and come in physical contact with. So my close friends, my family, we get to connect. I miss those kind of tertiary relationships, like, that cashier at the coffee place that I flirt with every time.
Right.
Or like the guys, at the elevator who are, and we're checking each other's sneakers and
Right.
I miss those light interactions, that like quick banter,
Totally. The elevator chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. I know.
It's so much, and you wouldn't think that that's what you miss, but that's real. I miss that a lot. I really do. Yeah,
I do too. And it may not even be the chat itself. It's just the presence.
Yeah.
I just want to be near you. No, I think some people are more extroverted than others, and I'm very extroverted, and I like to be around people. I live in Manhattan, right? No matter what they smell like or sound like, or I like it. I thrive on that. I need it, and I definitely feel like when I get onto these types of calls, I feel better, even though it's not real. It's not in person. It does something to me. If my energy goes up, I need, like, I physically, emotionally, cognitively need that contact. So yeah, I agree with you. I miss the little things and the in-person things, and just going to a bar for a longer period of time.
I mean, literally, like, just hitting a bar just for a quick drink. I mean, who knew how critical that was,
I know.
A gallery opening. Can I go to a gallery opening? And actually, I did hit the galleries a couple weeks ago, because a lot of them you can still do by appointment. So,
right.
So I saw a phenomenal show like 2 weeks ago, Robert Longo at Jeffrey Deitch. And so you can do it. You can still experience art, but there's nothing like, a great opening, you've got that glass of wine and you're talking about this one.
Kind of dressed up. Yeah.
It's fun, man, it's just fun.
Wearing some of your cool sneakers, with the...
Exactly, right?
Right. Because you are a sneakerhead, we established.
I am.
What it also feels, I think, draining or depressing a little bit, and you raise it to, your example of the gallery brings it home. And I think you would find this particularly true for you, given what I know about you, is because we're so locked in, because we can't have those tertiary conversations, we don't get to have the serendipity. We don't get to have the discovery that, like, oh, that gallery's open. But I guess the flip side of that is that once we are, liberated from this war that we're in, we will really relish in those discovery moments. Maybe we will actually discover how important those discovery moments are.
I would hope.
I had a dream, and usually I don't remember my dreams, or I just want to wake up from my dreams. But I literally had a dream, and I was like, no, stay asleep, stay asleep, stay asleep. This is a good one. I was in Paris and then Milan. Okay, let's start with that.
Good start.
And, but in these scenes of my dream, I was in a hotel lounge, right? And like bar lounge type of thing, dressed up, really crowded. Everyone's with their cocktails. They're checking each other out. I was like, this is awesome. Don't wake up. Don't wake up. So I don't know, but I think I'm going to have to do that. Maybe it won't be like neck to neck, cheek to cheek, you know, but sweat bead to sweat bead. But I see myself there.
Well, during the brief period of time when they had restaurants open for outdoor service, Soho House opened up again.
Right.
And so I was going downtown to Soho Warehouse, and I was allowed to feel fabulous, and people complimented my sneakers, and my date had high heels on. It was crazy talk, like it was nuts. It was madness. But now they're closed down again, so we'll see. Yeah,
I know. I too went to Soho House once during this period where they had opened it up again. Mm-hmm. But it didn't feel the same because it was like that 25% capacity. And it's like, no,
right.
we can't check each other out unless we're close enough,
It is not the same.
It's just not the same.
It did feel luxe, which was nice. And because,
yes.
I don't have an opportunity to feel luxe here. So that was nice.
Yeah.
And, but yes, it's not the same. Definitely not. It is not the same. And, and thank God, because I would have been really scared if it was.
I know. And then you'd be like, checking your temperature.
We gotta go.
I know. Well, yeah. And your date was in high heels. I love that image because yes, that's part of my dream too. I think I was in high heels too. Yeah. Well, we will get back to that because I think the human spirit is just not going to be able to tolerate not getting dressed up. I can't. So I'm going to be seeing you someday soon in LA, decked out, your sneakers and my heels, and we will remember this moment. Well, I really wanted to dig into, speaking of your sneakerhead life and your artistic sides and your music background, but I also recognize that I have to let you go. So I think what we have to do is promise each other another date on Decoded where we can see your amazing graphic exploration of 2020. And we can talk about all those different sides because all those different sides I know make you as cool as you are. And I want the rest of the world to hear what I've heard about you. So if you promise to come back to Decoded again, I will let you go.
Okay, well, that seems fair. I promise to come back. We'll talk about the origin story, which would be fun.
Yes.
And hopefully I'll have my book ready by that time as well.
Excellent.
But it's a pleasure. I really, really enjoyed hanging out. Really nice.
Same here.